Once upon a time, in a small village nestled among golden hills, lived a hardworking young man named Kaito who dreamt of a much better and brighter life. Every single day, Kaito worked tirelessly under the sun to harvest precious silver starfruits, believing that his labor would eventually lead him to great wealth and prosperity. He traded these magical fruits for silver coins, carefully building his savings bit by bit, convinced that every single coin kept was a step toward his freedom. Kaito hid his growing treasure in a clay jar beneath his bed, checking it every night. He believed that saving was the only true key to success. Despite their poverty, his family felt a sense of hope. They shared modest meals and laughed together, trusting that their future was safely tucked away in silver. And he told himself that patience was his greatest virtue. If he could just save enough, the storms of life would never be able to touch his family. But the world began to change in ways Kaito did not understand. A silent storm of rising prices and economic struggle swept through the peaceful mountain village. He went to the market with his heavy bag of silver, expecting to buy plenty of supplies, but the faces of the merchants were cold and grim. To his absolute horror, a handful of silver coins that once bought a feast could now only provide a single, small loaf of dry, hard bread. The silver in his jar remained the same, but its power was vanishing. An invisible thief called inflation was slowly draining the life from his hard-earned savings. When the bitter winter arrived, the jar of silver was not enough to buy wood for the fire. His family shivered in the shadows of their home. He realized that while he had been diligent in saving, he was becoming poorer every day, and his stagnant wealth was failing him when he needed it most. Desperate for answers, Kaito traveled deep into the ancient forest to find the elder, a wise man who understood the hidden rhythms of the changing world. He found the elder sitting beneath a tree that seemed to pulse with life. Kaito poured out his heart, explaining how his silver had lost its soul. The elder smiled kindly and pointed to a nest above. He explained that nature does not just store energy, it constantly moves and creates new life. He held out a golden seed and told Kaito that saving is like holding water in your hands. To survive, one must plant a growing garden. Kaito gazed at the seed, seeing not just a plant, but a future. He realized that dead silver must be transformed into something that breathes and multiplies. The elder whispered that wealth is not how much you keep, but how much value you can create. And it was time for Kaito to change his path. Returning home, Kaito did the unthinkable. He emptied his jar, taking every last coin to the market, not to buy bread, but to buy the future. He purchased a flock of healthy chickens and the finest seeds available. He was no longer just a collector of silver, he was now a creator. His neighbors laughed and whispered, calling him foolish for spending his life savings during such hard times. But Kaito remained focused on his new mission. He worked harder than ever, tending to the soil and caring for his animals. His silver was no longer sleeping. It was working hard for him. Soon, the chickens began to lay eggs every morning. Kaito sold the surplus eggs to buy more chickens, creating a cycle of constant and rapid growth. He even learned to graft new trees, creating a variety of fruits that could grow all year round. His assets were now diversifying and becoming much stronger. And years passed, and Kaito's small plot of land transformed into a lush, thriving farm. It was an oasis of abundance in a world that remained difficult. Kaito had grown into a wise leader. He no longer feared the changing prices of the market because his farm provided everything his family needed. His harvest was legendary. The mix of silver and golden fruits represented his balanced approach to wealth saving for security, but always investing for growth. The villagers who once mocked him now came for advice. Kaito shared his secret, teaching them that true wealth must be planted and carefully nurtured. He taught the young ones that money is like a seed. If you just keep it in a box, it will never fulfill its true potential. Because he had invested well, he had more than enough to share. His prosperity became a shield for the entire village against the rising storms. His family lived in a sturdy stone house that stayed warm throughout the winter. They were no longer victims of the world's changing and volatile economy. His children had books and education, the greatest assets of all. Kaito knew that knowledge was a harvest that would feed them for a lifetime. He looked at his records and smiled. He understood that true financial freedom is having assets that work for you while you are asleep. When the next economic crisis hit the region, Kaito was ready. His farm continued to produce and his family remained safe and very well fed. He had learned the ultimate lesson of the silver starfruit. Wealth is a living cycle of growth, risk, and renewal in an ever-changing world. Standing with his son, Cato passed on the wisdom of the elder. He told him that saving is the start, but investment is the journey. In a changing world, the biggest risk is taking no risk at all. Do not just save for your future, build it with your own hands. Start planting your seeds of prosperity today. And remember that the secret to true and lasting wealth is making your resources grow and multiply forever.